I was born in Bishops Falls, Newfoundland, and then lived in several different towns in my childhood days. I was the oldest of 7 children. Well, we moved from Bishops Falls. My father got a job at the Argentia American base. He was a wildlife guide and used to take the Americans back in the woods hunting. With that kind of lifestyle he became an alcoholic. Basically, it hurt the family. When I was 11 years old, when I was the oldest of 7 children at the time, my father was kicked out. My parents were having problems in the marriage, and my mother started a relationship. At 11 years old, she basically one day filled up the cupboards with food and the fridge with food, and so we were excited. A couple of days later, she basically left, and I haven't seen her since. I, being the oldest, looked after the other 6 children for about a month before social services took us away. Except for my youngest brother, who was 2 at the time, I basically don't know my other siblings. And so at the age of 13, my uncle took me in. At the same time as our family troubles, we lived next to a Baptist church. Even though my parents were having trouble, they didn't go to church. They made us as children go to church. So one day, basically, I snuck over to the Baptist church. It was an evening service, and I opened up this great big door with a cross on it, the glass cross. All I could smell was the aroma of popcorn and laughter. And so I snuck down in the basement, and one man came over to me and said, "Young man, come on in," and shared popcorn with me that evening. And basically that was my introduction to the Protestant faith. The pastor took us under his wing, sort of thing, and we were, a pretty hard family at the time, but in our younger years, he basically paid for me to go to a camp called Camp Whitburn. Even the sleeping bag that I used he gave it to me. And those were the seeds that were planted. When I was 17, my stepmother said, well, it's time to move on now. I went down through a university catalog and chose electronics as my trade. And so I moved to St. John's, Newfoundland to go to trade school. I was walking down and I seen this Baptist church. And so one Sunday I decided that I would check that Baptist church because it brought back memories from my childhood. I did go one Sunday, and sure enough, who should I see but director of the camp, and so I felt like this was it. I was 19 years old when I accepted the Lord as my Savior. Before, there was a lot of confusion in my life, rejection, hurt, and pain. When I gave my life to the Lord, I just felt at peace, and it was real peace. It was something that was life-changing. When you're an 11-year-old child and your parents leave, there's an attack against the family, and when our family was destroyed, there's an 11-year-old child that just feels totally rejected. And so there was quite a struggle through all these teenage years to try to have some normalcy in my life. When I accepted the Lord at 19, all that was put in perspective. So my prayer at the time was, Lord, please give me a strong family that I can love and that we can stay together. I didn't want to have that experience of breaking up a family and having children go through that, the same thing I went through. At the age of 20, I met Juanita, who would become my wife. She came from a family that was very strong. Of course, I found Juanita quite attractive. Her family is really what I just couldn't get over, that you could have someone in such a close family like that, and that really attracted me. And so her family took me in and accepted me, and we got married a year after, and the rest is history. God has given me a family that I can love and one that can stay together. He answered my prayer. I don't know how more blessed I can be at 53 to have 4 kids raised, 2 grandchildren now, and a career. I go to work every day loving what I do. Don't know how much more blessed I can be.